Hey, and welcome to my little teach on better sleep for busy mums and dads. Now, it's a fact, as mums and dads, sleep is one of those subjects that we have probably all had experience of suffering really badly with. For me, I'll go into my story in just a second, but ever since having had children, sleep has been something that has been really difficult. And I would say it's probably one of the biggest subjects that you'll cover or need to get a hold of to make headway with your health and fitness. So, when it comes to sleep with busy parents, there are some really interesting statistics. For example, there's over 60% of people without children get their 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, whereas it falls all the way down to 10% of people who do have children, aka parents, that actually get the right amount of sleep. So, there's a huge drop off when it comes to actually getting the right amount of sleep. Um, on average, parents lose roughly 109 minutes per night within the first year. So if you think about that from a couple's perspective, that's 218 minutes of sleep. So that's coming on for 4 hours between you. It's no wonder we all feel tired. And the biggie, and this is something that I definitely experience, is that there are lots of statistics around parents even suffering with insomnia based around disturbed sleep patterns all the way through to the age of their children being 6. Now, my children, one of them is 6 now, and we definitely still feel the effects of that. And one of the reasons I wanted to put this together was because there are definitely some things that I know now that if I'd known before, I could have made a much bigger impact on my sleep. I want to start this teach with a little bit of a story because this was me back in 2016. Now, I want to point you in the direction of my eyes, the fact that I haven't had a shave, the fact that my little one is still in her pajamas, despite the fact this was about 11 o'clock in the morning. So this was me back in 2016 when Lily Mae was first born, and neither of us had had any sleep that night. Now, I'd actually taken Lily Mae to a local Costa so that I could go out and grab a cup of coffee. We all know about coffee. So that Pippa could actually get a little bit of a break. She was breastfeeding. She was up throughout the night with the little one. I mean, again, I wasn't actually up that night, but um, I didn't get much sleep because there was tears. There was, yeah, it was rough. Um, and this situation here had an absolutely incredible impact on the things that were going on around me. Again, I'll come on to this in just a second, but things like training. So this was the gym that I worked at the time. My training had taken a huge dive. I wasn't eating properly. I was eating, snacking out of sort of fast food options from places like Costa. And as a couple, the sleep deprivation that we were going through was probably one of the biggest challenges that we had ever faced. Now, why was it such a big challenge? Well, for us, we are very definitely a fitness couple. I was a personal trainer at the time, doing competitive CrossFit, and Pippa is a PE teacher. So health and fitness runs in our blood. It's something that we're both passionate about, and we live and breathe it. Like we eat the meals, we do the training, we try and get the right amount of sleep. And sleep for us had just never been an issue before. We knew that if we wanted to get up in the morning and go and do a training session, we knew that we needed to be going to bed at a certain time. We were happy with that. We would sort of down tools, go to bed nice and early, and feel refreshed in the morning. Now, I remember this competition. The year before this competition, Pippa was pregnant with Lily Mae, this little one that you see here. Um, and I remember having loads of energy, being able to prepare for the workouts, booking a hotel room, being able to stay the night before. And I felt really refreshed going into that competition. How different this one was. We were all sharing a room. Lily Mae had a really disturbed night, and I got zero sleep. And I still remember getting on the rower at the start of that competition and feeling like someone had absolutely drained my body of all energy. Work was suffering, my mood was suffering, my mental health was really suffering, and that all came about through sleep deprivation. So, how is it going to affect you, and how is it probably affecting you right now? Because I'm guessing if you're watching this, that sleep is something that you're looking to try and turn the dial on and try and get a little bit more out of. Well, if your sleep is less than optimal at the moment, you're going to find energy levels are really difficult. You're going to get up in the morning and you're going to find that you feel like you're on the back foot straight away. For example, I remember going to a park with, I think it was summer, and I'd had a really bad night's sleep. Running around at the park was just not on my radar. I was so bottomed out from the fact that I had low sleep that I had really low energy levels. I didn't want to get up and do anything, and that was just so unlike me. Mental health, like I spoke to you about already, this sums up how I know a lot of parents feel when they get really bad sleep. I know if I've had a bad night's sleep, I'm not the most fun person to be around, but the long-term effects of sleep deprivation can have a huge impact on your mental health. Mood as well, and it's really important because as adults, we like our downtime. We like sitting back. We like choosing the times that we're like a little bit more engaged. But with kids, you don't get that chance, that choice. With kids, you need to be on your A game all the time and have that good mood because it just means that actually keeping things in order is a lot easier. Playing with the kids, sitting and having dinner, helping them with work with schoolwork when they come home from school. Like our mood needs to be on point so that we can actually engage and have a good relationship with our kids. If it's not, it makes life really difficult. Your ability to work. Now, I've already spoken about energy levels. So when you get up in the morning, you've got your daily tasks to do. Do you leave those tasks thinking, yeah, I'm ready to get to work? And are you productive at work? Fixing your sleep is definitely going to have a really positive impact on that. And physical health as well. I know lots of people that have had some really tough times through sleep deprivation. It can lead to obesity. It can lead to blood pressure issues. It can lead to cardiovascular issues. So again, if left unchecked, this can take much more of a toll than just the mental side of things, or even just affecting our energy levels. It can affect us physically as well. So it's really important to get onto it. So without further ado, welcome to my 3-step formula to getting better sleep. Very, very simple. Now, little disclaimer here. I'm not a sleep doctor. I am not somebody who has gone away and studied at university to help people with their sleep. This is going to be me speaking from my experience, having worked with tons of parents and being a parent myself. These are things that not only have I tried and have worked really, really well for me, but we've worked with other parents as well to help them dial in some really basic things that can have a really positive impact on your sleep. And there's 3 stages. There's you. So again, we'll come on to this, but we need to fix you first. Then we're going to start looking at things that we can do with the kids to help get them working a little bit more effectively with sleep and embracing sleep a little bit more. And then finally, the last thing in the equation is to get your environment sorted so that it's pleasurable. That's a funny word, isn't it? Pleasurable. So that it's actually quite pleasurable for you to actually go to sleep. So let's talk about you first. Now, I'm going to use one of the oldest analogies in the book. I want you to think of being on an aeroplane. When they do that safety briefing at the start of the flight, what do they tell you? They tell you to put your mask on first so that then you can help the other people around you. If you're, and this is the airplane example, if you're dead, you can't help other people. And it's very similar to this with sleep. If you don't fix you first, there's no way that you're going to be able to help other people. There's no way you're going to be able to follow through with little sort of hints and tips and bits of advice that I give you to be able to affect other people in your family as well, mainly your kids. So things that we're going to need to consider to fix you is habits with mobile phones, any screens, TVs, computers. If you're sitting up at night reading your phone, and even worse so, working on your phone, that's going to have a really big impact on you. I work as an online coach. I get this. It's hard sometimes, and you feel pulled to do that, but it's really important that we look at this. Caffeine as well, although very useful, very important to understand the habits around caffeine so that we can have a better impact on our sleep. Stress. It's 2022. Things are very different now. Work is no longer 9 till 5. There are work stresses that come home with us, and these will have a really big impact on your sleep. Work schedule. Looking at when you actually start and when you stop. Again, people that work from home find this very difficult to be able to actually start and stop at specific times because it's very easy just to step in and do little bits and pieces. Again, as an online coach, I get that and I have to work quite hard with this. Physical activity and exercise. Again, this is something that we will come on to at a later date with another video, but physical exercise is really, really important. You've got things like gym sessions, classes, walking, all these things will contribute and will help. Healthy eating and supplements. Again, we're not going to go into huge detail with this, but it's really important to be aware that this is part of fixing the overall issue with sleep. And routine. Whether you like it or not, you'll hear this talked about with your children. You will benefit from having a routine as well. So here are a few golden rules that if you implement them, you will go a long way to fixing your relationship with sleep. No phones in the bedroom. No phones in the bedroom, just it highlights the fact that your bedroom is a sleep environment. By not bringing phones into your bedroom, it means that you're taking distractions away. Blue light is definitely going to be something that's going to affect your sleep because blue light that comes from things like computer screens, which I'm looking at now, phone screens, it signals to your brain that it's daytime and it creates adrenaline, and it just means that your body, from a hormonal perspective, is going to be acting like it's daytime. Daytime, we want to be awake, ready to do things. That's why we don't normally feel sleepy through the day. Got me yawning now. So one bit of advice that I could give you is to go and buy some blue light blocking glasses um, to help with this. So all that does is that filters out the blue light, the stuff that switches our brains on. Wear them after 8 p.m. You'll see me on my Instagram stories with my little blue light glasses every so often. They're really useful to get hold of. Be strict with yourself on a bedtime and try and get at least 1 hour of sleep before midnight. From a circadian rhythm perspective, and that's our body's natural clock, our bodies really like to be asleep before midnight. It just means that we get that really good quality deep sleep. Be strict with yourself on a bedtime because this all becomes part of that routine. For me, I am in bed by 10 and I am asleep by 10:30. And I guarantee that by either reading, listening to a podcast or a documentary or something like that. Listening to things on my headphones, that's always been really useful to me. It's something that I've kind of grown used to now, so I can't really go to sleep without it, but it does help me drift off. Have a cut-off time, have a curfew for work emails, and just work in general. Shut down computers, turn off your phone, and be present with your family. There's nothing worse than being sat at the dinner table with mobile phones out of the table, even if you are responding to coaching messages from me. But it's really useful to have that cut off. Next bit is to make a concerted effort to tidy up your nutrition. Highly processed, high fat food will definitely disturb your sleep patterns, especially if you're consuming it really, really close to when you go into bed. I'd recommend giving this at least an hour between when you eat your final meal and when you go to bed. Very similar with exercise. I'm a firm believer that everything has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you work out really hard, you'll need that state of relaxation. If you work out really hard, it almost helps you to create that sensation of now I need my downtime, which hopefully is sleep. Studies have shown that people that consistently exercise and elevate their heart rate get much better quality sleep. Now, just like your children, you need a routine too. And if you try and do the same things day in, day out, your body will very quickly learn when I have dinner, have a glass of water, brush my teeth, read a book, then it's time for sleep. If you have that routine in place, then your body will very quickly pick up on the fact that it is time to go to sleep. One of the things that I found works really well is if you're ever overwhelmed or stressed about things that are coming up the next day, consider writing a to-do list for the next day. Write down the things that are on your mind so that you can take them from your mind, put them on paper, and then it's no longer something you're going to ruminate on. Now, there's a little bonus that we're going to talk about just here, and that is Netflix. And I've done multiple pieces of content talking about Netflix because this is something that I know a lot of people struggle with. What I want you to imagine is that your kids have just gone to bed and it's 7 o'clock in the evening. That's a good result. Now, all day you've looked after your kids, and it's only right that you do something for you, something that helps you to relax, something that is just specifically time for you to sit down and mind your own business. Now, I've fallen foul of this as well. I've sat down and I've decided to watch an episode of something on Netflix. Other streaming services are available. And next thing I know, it's midnight and I've watched 5 episodes. And that is not healthy. Sitting up and binge watching these things because it's something that feels really good and it's a dopamine reaction that we get from that. All that's doing is that stealing time from the next day where you could be in bed resting, and it's dumping it into the back end of the day. In fact, you would be much better served going to bed that little bit earlier and being in a better mood, having higher energy levels, being able to focus more at work, being able to focus more when you get your tasks in the morning. So for me, late night Netflix is not a good investment, no matter how appealing it might be. Okay, so let's talk about the kids. And again, this is me talking from the perspective of a dad who's been through this, and I'm very lucky because I've got a partner that supports me in getting this done. But we definitely sing off of the same hymn sheet when it comes to helping the kids to get the best quality sleep we can. If our kids have a bad night's sleep, it definitely impacts the next day. So um, kids are definitely susceptible to this stuff. Um, routine. Routine is absolutely key, and it is my firm belief that it is our job as parents to show kids the right way to do things. Kids won't naturally gravitate towards healthy habits. It's up to us to show them that. And as a parenting collective, Pippa and I have always been very firm on this. Reading. Ever since our children have been born, we have spent 20 to 30 minutes every single day before bed reading them a book. Now, Lily May's a little bit older, so she reads to herself, but we still like to get in there and do that. Reading helps to relax the brain, and it will, again, be a part of that routine that says to the little one's brain, time to go to sleep. Phones and mobile devices. Kids have phones now. Kids have tablets. My kids sit like this with their necks bent over and watching tablets. And every so often, we give them a tablet because it gives us 5 minutes apiece. And from my perspective, that's okay. What's not okay is when we let them watch tablets all the way through till bedtime, because just like us, and they're not going to wear blue light glasses, their brains are told that it is still daytime, hence they just won't sleep, and the quality of the sleep they have is going to be rock bottom. The last one is exercise. Let's talk about it. So let's go back to routine. Kids respond to it, and it's an absolute game changer. If you can crack a routine, and the earlier you start, the quicker you can get this into play, then you will notice how much easier it is to get kids to bed. If you get kids to bed and get them to sleep, the quality of their sleep will be very good. They've got very little else going on, and they have the ability to focus on that. They don't have the stresses that we have in our daily life. Bedtimes are really important. Bedtimes for our kids are 7 o'clock. I know that not everybody's going to jump onto that, but again, having bedtime is going to be really useful for kids because it means that they have an expectation and they've got rules to follow. Set a curfew for mobile devices. For kids, I'd recommend 2 hours before bedtime because again, it's just going to help signal to the brain that it's time to go and rest. Reading, it relaxes the brain, and 30 minutes before bed, if you get little ones either reading or being read to, then that's going to be really useful for helping them to switch off. And the last one, talking about exercise, is get the kids out of the house. If you're one of my clients, I'm almost certainly giving you an expectation in terms of how much activity you need to do on a daily basis to get in shape. So there's no reason, if they're slightly older, get them out on scooters, skateboards. If they're little, get them out in the pushchair, and you can walk and push them in the pushchair. I still remember getting home at 11 o'clock at night from the gym after having been at work and taking Lily May when she was first born out on a 5K walk. So I'd be back at about midnight, but it gave Pippa a rest. But that helped me get my exercise in, and it helped not only me with my sleep, but also the fresh air helped her to get back to sleep as well. Now, bonus on this one is that most of the things that I've said are really good habits to get into with kids are things that we should be doing as well. And it makes life a hell of a lot easier. If we do these things and our children see us doing them, it makes it a lot easier for them to do them too. Now, the last thing, a very, very simple subject. This is much less about trying to build routines and relationships with kids. This is all about fact. These are things that you can go and fix right now that will have a positive impact on your sleep. First one is buy a thermometer and keep your room at a certain temperature. 18 degrees C has been shown to be the optimal temperature for sleep. So where we've just come from a hot summer, if it's 30 degrees in your bedroom and you're struggling to sleep, you know why that is. Things like air conditioners, fans, even just keeping the bedroom nice and cool through closing curtains and things like that. That can work really well. In the winter, making sure you've got an element of heating, which means that the room stays at that same temperature. Next, making the room as dark as possible is going to be a real win. Things like blackout blinds, and actually just shutting curtains and things like that. If you've got blinds, use them. If you've got curtains, use them. If the curtains are letting lots of light in, consider getting some new ones. If you do that, that's going to make a really, really big impact in terms of how dark the room is, which is going to in turn help you to get some better quality sleep. Next, you want to look at things with standby lights. Lots of people have things like TVs in their bedrooms, computers, chargers, night lights, things like that. And if you go around and you turn those standby lights off, again, you're going to help to make the room just a little bit darker. Another idea is to charge phones away from your bedside. We already spoke about having no phones in the bedroom, but sometimes the reality of that is it's not always going to be possible. If you charge your phones away from your bedside, you remove temptation to check phones when you're in bed. Again, your phone might vibrate when you're asleep, and worst case scenario, you can use things like sleep functions to do that. The next one is going to sound really preachy, but it makes a huge difference. And that's why I've put a picture like this, is to tidy your bedroom. If your bedroom's nice and tidy and in order, there's less tasks to stress you out, less things that you're going to be thinking you need to do. Hence, the bedroom becomes much, much more relaxed place to be. Do spend some time looking at the comfort of your bed. Look at whether it's soft, whether it's too hard, things like that. Things like pillows and even things like bed linens as well. If you spend a little bit of time trying to get that right, again, it just takes the level of comfort to the next level and makes things a lot easier to get back to sleep. Last one is keep work firmly out of your bedroom. If you've got any ideas about having a desk or anything like that in your bedroom, get rid of it. Keep your sleep environment as clean as possible. Keep work out of the bedroom and sleep in. So hopefully by having watched this little teach, you've managed to learn a number of different things. And there's a ton of information in here in terms of how to create the best opportunity for you to get good quality sleep. Apologies about the noise, that's my kids playing out in the garden. So the first thing that we've learned is how to create a routine for you and your kids that supports better, easier, better quality sleep. This is the emphasis on this is about doing the same things for you and the kids. And one of the big things about the Body Confidence Blueprint that I run is that whatever you do to get back into shape, you need to be able to bring your family along too. Now, I'm not suggesting that you feed your children chicken and broccoli every night, far from it. In fact, it needs to be things that work both for you and for them too. So when it comes to routine, it gives you an opportunity to lead from the front and help them learn from this too. Second is understand things that actually disturb your sleep and come up with some solutions to just remove them as problems. There will be a number of things in your daily lifestyle at the moment that will be affecting your sleep. Identify them, fix them, and benefit from that. The third thing is how to lead by example and lead from the front when it comes to actually showcasing some great habits. There are habits that you need to have every night. Not taking your phone in your bedroom, switching your phone off at a specific time. This little teach should give you a little bit of a heads up in terms of which ones of those you should be doing. And the last one is how to create a near perfect sleep environment, which is just going to help you no end when it comes to getting better quality sleep. Now, I want you to think about you and your journey. Sleep is definitely something that we work on in the Body Confidence Blueprint. And it helps the clients that I work with go from being tired, overweight, low on energy, and really unhappy with the way that they look, to rediscovering that body confidence that they had before children. So like I said, sleep is a very big factor in that. Now, I'm guessing if you've got this far, that is probably something that you're looking to improve. And I'm not big on salesy pushes, but what I wanted to do is to offer you an opportunity to talk about your journey in a little bit more detail. Just underneath this video is going to be a little link taking you to book your very own discovery call. Click that link, answer a few short questions, and we'll arrange a time to get together and go into a little bit more detail. If it's not for you, hey, I'm cool with that. Thanks very much for watching. And if you've got any questions, just shoot me a message on any of my social media platforms and I'll get straight back to you.